Hello, welcome to Train Talk. I'm Monty Miller.
I'm Rebecca Cowell.
And this is part 2 of our interview with Brady Redwine, the Vice President of Real Estate at Texas Central.
For those of you who missed the first part of the episode, Brady is in charge of station development. So all 3 of our passenger stations, he's essentially in charge of making sure they are as cool and amenity-laden as possible.
And you're, like I said, you're in for a treat because Brady is not an easy person to get a hold of, and especially not twice. So let's go. Let's talk to Brady a little bit more and build this train. So Brady, the last time you were on our channel, I'm pretty sure you had like a clean-shaven baby face, and now you have this big like Nordic beard. So is it just a winter thing, or what's going on? Well, are you having a midlife crisis?
So I've got 3 kids.
Bray Wyatt.
Got a 9-year-old, 6-year-old, and 3-year-old, all girls. Hat trick.
Okay, sweet.
I'm one of 3 girls as well.
3 for 3, right?
2 boys.
We stopped there. Not trying my chances again.
You can't afford 4 kids these
my
days.
youngest asked me this about a month ago and said, "Daddy, why you got all this hair on your face?" And I said, "Well, it's my beard." And she's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Well, that's the mustache part of the beard." She goes, "Daddy, why not your hair up here?" And I was like, "Well, it's a good point."
And so now, to transition
right.
it.
So now I'm using it as
tears stream down your face.
The bit now is because I live my life, I guess, as a stand-up comedian. The bit, I'm using it as it's a transplant.
Yeah, see,
I'm growing.
You're cultivating.
Before you can, when you get the little basil plants in the grocery store, they didn't start out as plants. You had to grow them up to enough to where then you could go plant them somewhere. And so you have to grow your hairs enough to where you can put them up here. So maybe next time I see you, it's up here.
Well,
maybe
it's really
not.
reassuring to know that the person who's in charge of overseeing station development is really good at long-term vision and planning.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm like forestry for hair.
So how do you keep it from being really white? I'm asking for a friend.
Well, unfortunately, us redheads don't go gray as early as you guys with hair or dark hair. So
I wasn't gray before I got married.
I'm not going there. I'm not touching that. I wasn't bald before I got married.
Just kidding, Rishi.
Well, so I'll take that as an easy transition to go back to the topic at hand. So we're talking about.
Transition.
Thank you. So talking
what
about.
was the topic?
Man, hold on, I almost fell over.
In Dallas.
Oh, stations, yes.
And looking at, I've seen in the news over the past several months, lots and lots of big projects all looking to be developed in the south of Dallas area. We're looking at the high-speed train station, obviously, the redevelopment of the Trinity River area, turning that into a park, 12 times the size of Central Park or something like that.
Yep.
That's right next to our station.
Yeah,
right?
The new observation wheel looking at coming as well.
Texas, yeah.
Yeah, and
you got the water gardens.
The water gardens, the redevelopment of Fair Park.
The original Trinity. Well, you got the water gardens, original Trinity River Channel, and yeah, no, there's a lot going on. Multimodal station that City of Dallas is currently investigating, which involves the discussion about moving Union Station closer to our site. So you end up, again, point being, you have one consolidated development that, you've got multimodal access. I mean, the same thing's kind of going on in Houston, because again, Dallas is one part of it, but Houston's another huge part of it. You've got we're located on one of the busiest corridors in the U.S. I mean, maybe not one that I can't speak for the world, but in the U.S., you've got one of the most crowded corridors of 290 and Hempstead. And TxDOT's investigating, they've already got an approved project with My 290. Houston and Metro are working on upgrading their services on BRT through buses and dedicated lanes. It's going to be right outside our station, and development's coming up that way as well. So it's both areas are just booming.
Well, I mean, I know you said you can't speak, for the entire world, but I mean, I do know this as a fact that section of I-10 in Katy, Texas is literally the widest expanse of highway in the entire world, and that's in Houston.
Yep.
And still very busy,
and
crowded.
Still extremely congested.
Well, on the first day it was built, right?
Right. No, highways are one of those things. As soon as you build it, they fill up. I mean, you're done, right?
And we know from the state demographer that the populations in both Houston and DFW are going to double in the next 25, 35 years.
Yeah, or maybe quicker. But
how are they going to build more lanes?
You can't.
So,
you can't.
so what happens on a train, on a high-speed train when
You run them
when
quicker. You
when
run
you're
them
full
quicker.
capacity, you just
You run them more.
You just
and,
run
and
more
it's
trains.
easy. You got 2 tracks, one north, one south, and you just run trains closer together. And in Japan, this one I'm not certain of, but they're running every
4 minutes.
I'm sure Rebecca
3 to 4
knows.
minutes.
I was
Right.
gonna say.
Right.
yes,
So,
yes.
I mean, they're running. I mean, you can, and it's probably going to get at some point. You can't get any tighter, but we're talking about even operating every 30 minutes at peak.
Yeah.
But eventually getting to like a 15 to 20 minute every way.
So
But
rather
you're-
than building more lanes all the way 240
You
miles
build
of
more
lanes
trains.
from Dallas to Houston.
You build more trains.
Yeah.
Don't build the lanes.
Yeah,
build
you
the
just
trains.
build the trains, but the
think we
track
just found our
stays
episode
the,
title.
That was live, y'all.
the tracks stay the same. The tracks are always the same width, no matter how many
Right.
trains are coming along. So that's actually saving a lot of land that highways might take up in the future.
Yep.
Well, and so especially as somebody who spent their career in real estate and in development, what is the difference of how things develop next to a highway versus next to a high-speed train track?
So
Outside of the station area.
outside of the station area, so it's less impact. I mean, so if you look at I-45, every 5-10 miles, mostly around cities, you have exits, and you'll have a pocket of gas stations and some maybe some light density flex industrial or something like that. But it's really just around that intersection, and then once that's done, you really truly do have a barrier. You've got farmland that was divided at one point when Eisenhower came in and said we're building the interstate system. You had people's land that got cut off. With the train, for the most part, if we're over 50% elevated, you're not going to have exits, so you're not going to have impact and development popping up in the middle of nowhere, unless there's a station. But in those areas, people can still access both sides of their land. They're not going to be cut off. In areas around, like say, our maintenance facilities, what you will see is you're going to have big development there. All of this is taxable base, by the way, and it's going to be benefiting. Even though there's no exit, it's benefiting the counties.
Yeah,
It's
we pay
benefiting
taxes on the land that we are using.
and the infrastructure in place. So
Yeah.
school taxes, all that stuff. It's a benefit. But around the maintenance facilities or maintenance away facilities, you're going to see other supportive services that pop up because you're going to have employees there. You're going to have people helping maintain the right of way. And so you're going to see some businesses that pop up, but they don't have to be right there next to the station. They can be down the road. But again, the main development piece is going to be way more dense because of the train, and it's going to be located in urban areas for the most
And
part.
as I understand it, the tracks have about an average width, like for both tracks, of about 150 feet, which goes out to at most about 500 feet of total right-of-way the system will need for the maintenance away facilities. Is that correct?
That's right. So really you've got about 50 to 75 feet on track to track, but in that you've got needed right away. So if you're on viaduct, 100, 150 feet, you can squeeze it down in certain very dense urban situations. The berms they're gonna be a little wider, but again, our focus is to minimize impact. Again, work with landowners and make sure that we're good neighbors, be good community members.
Yeah, it was
I'm sorry. You got 7 million people on one end, 7 million people on the other. So they're going to be traveling back and forth. And this seems to me
They already do travel back and forth.
Yeah. And this seems to me like just the most efficient way with the least amount of land used. It seems like really not only the most environmentally friendly, but the most people friendly and most community friendly option you have to be able to get these 7 million, connect these 7 million people on one end to the 7 million people on the other, who are gonna have to find a way to.
They're coming either way,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And it's 7 going to 14 or 15 million in a blink of an eye. We'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be that.
Yeah.
And it's if when my kids are grown and they're having to go between Dallas and Houston. Or College Station, by
College
the way,
Station,
yeah,
if they
because
go to
well,
Gig 'em.
well, or I'm coming down to check on them at College Station. Like, I'm gonna pop in and be like, "Ha,
Good, yeah.
Like, I see your domino game is stellar, but it's the night before finals. Go study, and then I can get back on the train and go home.
Yep.
and be home before my bedtime at 6:30 at night.
And I-45 is already, I mean, I-45 is widely considered and ranked one of the most dangerous highways in the U.S. Right. It's a very dangerous highway. You have, like you said, 90,000 college students right in the middle, who are, most of them, traveling back to either Houston or Dallas on a weekly, bi-weekly, even a semesterly basis. Yep. And to be able to give them that safe option versus the highway, I-45, which is so dangerous, I think that's a huge benefit that a lot of people don't think about. And as someone who has kids who could potentially go to school in Houston or College Station, I think of that as one of the and a lot of good benefits, but that's one of the best for me, is just the safety of all these people going to college games on weekends and drinking maybe while they're there. And then,
driving back late at night or whatever. And it's even the kids coming from, Fort Worth coming down I-35 to Highway 6. Highway 6 for the longest time was one of the deadliest state highways. They've improved it, but it's still not safe at night when you got kids. When you got kids driving late at night to get home.
After pulling an all-nighter.
Right.
I've done that.
Because I've done it. I've done the super late night, and instead they could ride the train up and either have parents pick them up or have an Uber or however, ride DART, ride Metro to get to where they're going. Instead of them endangering their lives, at the time I didn't realize it, and now I look at, like, when I'm coming home on Highway 14 coming through Mejia, and I mean, it's in the middle of the night, and bad things happen late at night.
So the lights, the roads are so dark.
Right.
Yeah.
The roads are so dark out there.
Right.
That it's really scary at night, especially late at night.
Well, and especially one of the biggest problems that we're seeing, rise in public transportation space is this distracted driving. My generation and younger, we've grown up with a smartphone in our hand, and we're really bad at putting it down.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge, and that's why, in my view, I see the rise of things like Uber and Lyft and Get Me and Zipcar, because people are putting more of a value on being able to do what they want to do while they're in transit and not having to put that phone down than to have both hands on a wheel like they're supposed to.
And we offer, we're going to offer the option to trade a, say you're, 4.5 hour ride to Houston, instead of having to drive and kind of halfway pay attention and text and maybe wreck or get pulled over because you're texting and driving, get caught. There's a few hot spots that, I see state troopers out there. They're looking.
I drove in this morning from College Station. I passed 4.
Yeah, and instead of that, you're going to be able to, again, drink your coffee, eat your sandwich, do whatever you want. You can be distracted and ride all day long on our deal, and be connected. We're going to have good. It's good Wi-Fi connections.
That's one thing that sets you apart from airplanes too. Is on airplanes, usually when you're flying from Dallas to Houston, by the time you get up in the air and they say turn your electronics on, it's time to turn them off because you're about to start landing. So on the train, you get on the train and you plop down, turn your Wi-Fi on, and you have Wi-Fi from station to station. No. So you don't have to worry about.
Right. And you don't even have to turn it on. You could be distracted walking, which I don't encourage. That's not safe either. You can get hurt
Here
doing
at Texas
that.
Central, we encourage a culture of safety. Please.
Yeah, but you could be walking onto the train, emailing, browsing, Facebook, doing the face space, my story, Instabook.
Instabook, yeah, you got it right.
Twittergram,
you got it all right.
I think you hit 'em all.
Twittergram.
Yeah, I'm the social media guy. You got it all right. It's perfect.
But it'll be seamless.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You're not going to even have a ticket, probably. You could have a ticket if you want to print it out. You're going to have it on your phone. It's just
ticket right here, your phone, right?
Yeah.
Well, Brady, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, both you and your beard's presence. Thank you, everyone watching online, for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Train Talk.